Hi, my name is Murali. In this video, I'm going to give a walkthrough of how to build an online app using Mobile Development Kit, or in short MDK. If you're not familiar with what MDK is, it's a development tool to quickly build enterprise-ready mobile applications. It is part of the Cloud Platform Mobile Services and can be used to build apps leveraging the drag and drop simplicity within SAP Web IDE. With zero or less code, you can get a native iOS app running in few minutes. Before I start, I would like to point you to the Cloud Platform Academy videos. So if you go through this entire series of videos, it'll give you a bit of overview as to how the MDK setup is done and how you also would use the toolsets to build an offline mobile application. To begin with, you would need to log on to your Cloud Platform account. In this case, I'm registered for a trial account and I've logged on to the Cloud Platform Mobile Services. So under mobile applications, I am going to create a new application. So for the config template, I'm going to select Mobile Development Kit, give it an ID, give it a name as suppliers, and save the application. Under assign features, first thing I would need to do is provide the connectivity. So I'm going to connect it to ES5 backend system, which ES5 is a sandbox gateway system which is available publicly. So I've already registered for an account and I'm just going to refer to ES5. I'm going to go back and under security, I'm going to set this to OAuth and click on the plus icon and just say OK. So this should have generated an OAuth client ID. And I'm just going to click on save. So with this, the configuration in your mobile platform, your mobile services is complete. The next thing to do is to switch to Web IDE. Within Web IDE, we would be configuring as well as building the mobile application. And throughout the process, it would be communicating with the mobile services to obtain the application details as well as push app updates. Now to facilitate this communication, before we even get into Web IDE, we would need to go on to the Cloud Platform Cockpit, and under Destinations, we would need to create a destination which points to the Cloud Platform Mobile Services. Also make a note of there are a couple of additional properties which needs to be provided, which are all available in the help documentation. I'm going to now switch to Web IDE, and before I get started, I would need to ensure that one of the features is made available, which is Mobile Development Kit Editor. So in my scenario here, I've already turned it on, and this will give me access to an MDK development pane. And from here, I can go into the workspace and create a new MDK project. I'm going to give the name as suppliers. Just leave the defaults and click on finish. Once your project has been created, navigate to the services folder and add a new MDK service. I'm going to give a name as my suppliers, and in the service URL I need to refer to the destination which we have created, which is to mobile service. And in application ID, I'm going to give the name of the application, and destination name is ES5. I don't need offline storage. I'm unchecking it and I'm going to click on next. And this should make a query to the ES5 web service and give me a list of all the entities out there. I'm going to click on finish. The next step is to create some pages. So I'm going to create a list and a detail page. So I'm going to go into pages and right click and add new MDK page. So I have option to either select a form cell page or a section page. Since I'm going to display a list of items, I'm going to start with a section page and give the name as list. Now since I'm going to provide a list here, I could drag the object table and provide properties for this particular object cell. So the first thing is we need to do mapping with the service. So I'm going to identify my entity. It's going to be suppliers, and I'm going to add some properties. So for subhead, I'm going to select the ID of the supplier, and for title, I'm going to select name of the supplier. And if I would like to also change the header, I could go to the code and also change things from here. So I'll just give it a name as say supplier list, and I will save all. The next thing to do is create a detail page. So I'm just going to repeat the same process, and this time, since it's going to be a detail page, I'm going to use the form cell page. Give it a name as detail. And for this, I'm going to display the details of the supplier. So I could use a simple property. Let me drag and drop a few of them. And I could also add a description here. So let's give a meaningful label for this. And for the value, I'm going to select the name. Or just search from here. The second one is going to be phone number. Third field is going to be email. And the last one, the description one, let's keep it as address. So let's get to the supplier entity, and let's use the formatted address. So I'm going to save all my pages. I'm going to close them. The next thing to do is need to create a couple of actions. So again, right click the folder and say new MDK action, and this will give you a list of all the set of actions that are available. So you could create an action for a logout action, or for navigations, or even to create messages. So let's start with messages. Since I'm going to use OData calls, let's have a message for success as well as a failure. And let's keep the message as so I'll repeat the same for a failure message. Select the message action. Oops. So now we have created two messages. The next thing is to create OData actions. So if you go down, you will see OData. The first thing we're going to create is an open connection. So I'm going to select open as the type and give it a name. So let's give it a name as open OData. And this is the service. And I'm going to give the username. And a password. And if you see at the bottom here, I have I can provide what needs to be the success action and failure action. So I'm going to connect it to my success action as well as my failure actions here. So these are the messages which will show up if something goes wrong with this particular action. And I'm going to save it. The next thing I'm going to create in the actions is again an OData action. And this time it's going to be the create type. So I just leave it as create OData. And this is the same service. And I click on finish. Now for the success action of the create OData action, we need to link it to the open OData action. And the failure action, I'm going to link it to the failure message. And I'm going to save this one. One more thing to be done here in the actions is, since we're going to have a list and a detail page, we need to know how to navigate between these pages. So I'm going to create a navigation action too. And I'm going to say the page to open is detail. So that's all is required in the actions. Now in the pages, we don't need the main page. So I'm going to delete it. So we need to set the navigation from the list page to the detail page. So I'm going to open the list page. And in the events, on press, I'm going to connect it to the detail action. Save this particular file and close it. And I'm going to open the application.app setting. And out here, we need to change the main page as the list page. So this needs to be the first page that needs to show up. And on launch, we need to fire the create OData action. And similarly on the update, we're just linking it to the create OData action. I'm going to save all the files. Now we should be ready to deploy this particular application. So I'm going to say the option MDK deploy and activate. And uncheck download bundle to local machine. I would like to upload the bundle to mobile services. So I'll leave that on. and in the destination name I need to say to mobile services, and application ID is comms app suppliers, and leave these as enabled because you want to deploy your application. This is going to take a few minutes to deploy. Now that the app has been built and deployed, you can navigate to the mobile services, and within the suppliers application, we should be able to see something under the app update. You should be able to see a revision number here, and this gets incremented each time you deploy from Web IDE. Next thing that you would want to do is to view this particular application on your mobile device. I would like to point you to a blog by Sue, where she had earlier announced the availability of the MDK mobile app on the App Store. And this blog outlines how you would go about creating a URL to onboard your application. So you just need to copy this particular URL, and it actually contains your authorization endpoints and your token URLs, which you would be able to get it from your Cloud Platform account. So all I've done is copied this one onto my into a notepad, and out here for the app ID I have given my app ID, which is com.sap.suppliers, and the next thing that I need is the client ID. So to get that, I'm going to go into the security, and inside my OAuth client, so here you get all the endpoint URLs, which is what would be there in which is what you would need to construct it, and you need to get the client ID. Since I'm in incognito, I can't copy that, so I'm just going to go on to my developer tools and find a trick to get the value. So I've got access to the client ID, and I'm going to paste that here, and the rest are all same because I've already updated my trial account ID here. So I'm going to copy this one and then go on to a QR code generator and generate this a QR code for this. Next thing that we need to do is to install the mobile application. So I'm going to share my mobile app on the screen. So on your mobile app, navigate to the App Store and search for SAP Mobile Services Client, and you should be able to download it from the App Store. So once the app is downloaded, I would need to now open the camera and scan the QR code. I'm going to open in mobile services. Accept the agreement. Enable Touch ID. And I say yes, confirm update now. And this should make an OData call to fetch the list of suppliers. As you can see, this has brought on the list of suppliers, and if I click on a particular supplier, it then gets the details of them. So the next thing that I would like to show you is how to actually create a custom MDK client. So I'm going to now minimize this particular screen and go back to the Cloud Platform Mobile Services. And in the Assign feature, you have a Cloud Build section. So I'm going to give a client type as Mobile Development Kit client, and In bundle, I'm going to give it as SAP suppliers. And for application launch icon, I can try and see if I have a better icon. And I'm going to save the details. And in the build history, I'm going to trigger the build process. I'm going to select the signing profile, which I've already uploaded, and I'm going to say okay. So this should take again a couple of minutes to build this particular application. Once the build is complete, it's now ready to be installed. So just click on the install button here, and this would again give you a QR code. I'm going to now share my mobile screen here. And I'm just going to open my camera. And I'm going to click on the link. And I'm saying yes, install this app. So this is going to take again a few minutes to install this particular application. Okay, so now we have the custom MDK client installed on the device. Now I can click on it to open it, and it asks me for a sign-in. So the app should now bring the list of suppliers. Okay, I get an successful OData connection, and I can see the list of suppliers here, and when I click on it, it should go into the details, and I should be able to view the details of each of the supplier. So I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching.